Hey everybody, Ben here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up for yourself each and every day. So I did something different. When I first originally started doing videos, I would connect and then take notes and then share what came through. I stopped doing that. I guess uh, I think I was feeling energy that people wouldn't have believed it if I didn't do it live or real. But I said, fuck them. I'll do whatever I want. Because if you really think about it, if you connect in this way, it might take a while till you put everything together. And really, who wants to sit that long and wait for whatever to come through? And if I don't have a chance to reflect on it, I may miss things. So if it resonates, feel free to like or comment. If not, we'll just see what came through here. So there was like this uh, I don't really want to say a hole, but an opening in the ground, and it kind of like felt folded out like steps going down underground. Obviously, it was very dark, and when I started walking down, I heard three words that uh, I referenced through different languages: Kotojo, Meiji, Maka, something along those lines. And however I spelled it is how I looked them up, and it's compare, maybe, for. This really goes into life in general. When we are navigating life, we compare things and we say, maybe, is it for me? I don't know which way to go. I don't know what to do. Is it for me? Is it not for me? When I got down there a bit, it was giving Atlantis like experience, uh, city underground. It was very pretty. There was a very beautiful fountain or well there. The word well was strong instead, but it was very cleansing, pure water, nurturing for us. Then I heard symbols are the way, follow. I drew a symbol, and I had trouble trying to reference that symbol online, but the closest representation was labyrinth. And obviously, that's a transformative journey. Going back to the beginning of compare, maybe for which way do I go if I'm in a maze? Where am I going? What to do? What is the right direction? What is not the right direction? Is this going to set me back or is this going to push me forward? Then I heard a symphony of noise, which we can look at that as a very complex, overwhelming experience, but yet it's harmonious. When we really think about life in general, and we're at all these crossroads, or we're in a maze or a labyrinth and we don't know which way to go, and maybe we're in a place of struggling at that time and we just want to go x whatever way gets us to a place of comfort. It's really coming back to this aspect of this journey, and that's hard to stomach at times when we're going through hardship or struggles, whether in self or the external or all at the same time. How can we really take a step back and see this bigger picture, which, depending on where we're at in life, is really hard? Oh, sometimes we're just really focused here in the 3D. This is what I got to do to survive. I got to go to this. I got a schedule. I got people to care for, or animals, or whatever it is. We're in here, and if we actually take that time to expand way out and really look at it on a soul level of this journey is a much more magical experience than really just this material, heavy based situation. We look at that. It puts a lot more of a magical undercurrent underneath it, and we can glide a bit easier. Now, I do feel called to say at times, we are here, and if we're too far in that aspect, we're not here, and we're supposed to be here. So how can we balance that, but allow that reassurance? I feel a lot of energy coming out of my hands right now, uh, because it is such a magical experience, and I like to experience that. I like to be there, but sometimes we get ungrounded. We get a little too far gone, and we have to come back. And I know recently a lot of my videos have been very practical. It's been very uh, surface. I shouldn't say surface level, but healing deep wounds, and how deep do we really get into it? How vulnerable are we to open those up? I'm not sure what my audience is like or where they're at in the aspect, but I felt like it's been kind of repetitive. So it is nice to get back into something like this that it's very magical, and it almost wants to bring a tear to my eye, because when we can really expand out there a bit and turn all that stuff off that's going on outside, and I mean really bird's eye view, come back and uh, picture yourself like a feather or something in the wind, going through this experience that is so much more magical on a soul level that we often don't live, we don't feel, we don't express often because we're in this world, we are living it, the problems are real, the emotions are real, and what am I going to eat next, or when am I going to eat, how can I put something in here to satisfy something, that's the world we're most often living. But when we really pull back, and when we look at this evolutional aspect of, it's not just healing this or getting to this next stage. There's a lot of trust, going back to the compare, maybe for uh, how often are we making decisions based upon the 3D? And I'm not saying putting us in harm's way or danger or hardship, is just really bouncing off these fears or these emotions or what we experience out there, and how much they guide our decisions versus what really is in here, and going towards those kind of things. Going back to that complex, overwhelming harmony. Uh, how can we find harmony? How can we see it as harmonious? When shit's hitting the fan, uh, quite a difficult experience to find harmony in, and to understand that there's something much greater here taking place than just our general surface level emotions of the outcome or what's really going on. We'll pull some cards here and see what else is going on. Temperance, inner peace, finding that stability. Was very calm there when I kind of felt myself as a feather, and definitely from a bird's eye view, way up, looking down, and it was just kind of coasting, going with the flow. That's not saying give up or uh, just be submissive to everything. It's this balancing act of our emotions, and like I saw that feather, but I was also in that maze. And if we want to picture ourselves like in a hedge maze with all the bushes and we can't see over, but I could, that's like the higher self or our guides or God, source, divine, whoever, and they're looking over and they can see the maze and which way you're going, and we could be right there towards the exit, but we're over here and we think we're never going to get out. It's this different perspective that someone else has, or a higher self, or we could have if we expand out that far. But we're often down there in that maze, and all I see is this, and I don't know which way to go. It's really a balancing, uh, which is really hard to have at times, depending on what's going on in our lives and what we're feeling, and what wounds or emotions it's touching on. Uh, it is difficult, but maybe we can take a moment to really step back and see what I was able to see, uh, to navigate that comparison, that maybe, is this for me, is this not for me, and find that bigger view. Queen of Swords, informed decisions. This is the truth. It can be blunt at times. We take accountability, maybe we don't. This is, it's giving off that 3D base, like, hey, this is the decisions I'm making based upon this. Being quite logical about it. A lot of my messages I do touch on going into that heart space and feeling like, what do I really want? And not so much the material, it's the emotion. Like, let that be the driving force. What emotion do I want? And what can I bring into my life to help me get there, versus staying in these practical spaces that do make sense. They do. And they keep us safe and they keep us comfortable. But what are we yearning for? What's really in there? And hey, I might go the wrong way, and I'm going to be okay with that. But I know I'm going towards this emotion or whatever that is, that fulfillment. It doesn't have to have a title, it doesn't have to have a color or a face. It is this feeling. And I'm going to strive towards that, versus keeping ourselves small and staying in a place that we know is not going to get us there, but it feels safe. the emperor, discipline. This is taking responsibility for our actions. Like if if I made a wrong turn or I made a wrong decision, okay, that's okay. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna like this guy. He can't just quit his job. Uh, I'm not saying that it's related to a job, but in this experience, like, hey, we're here, and if we did something, or we set ourselves back a little bit, we wasted a bit of money on something, or we got to start over. Well, I can dwell on that, or I can fix it. I can take responsibility and I can move forward. I can do this. I can get through this. If we had that bird's eye view, it's no big deal from up there, but when we're in it, it's a big deal. And uh, how can we how can we make peace with our situations and get back to that emotion? And that's really something that's a self-reflection. Like if you want to take notes or jot down, like don't think of the item, don't think of money, don't think of the car or a house or a partner or anything. Think about the emotion. And when we really set into that, uh, it doesn't have to have a title like an item. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It is just this emotion, and that's what I want to feel. That's what I want to experience, and whatever comes in is gonna fulfill that. Eight of Wands, progress. No matter where we're at in that maze, we're making progress. We really are. It may not feel like it. It may feel like we wasted time. We went backwards. We, again, wasted time. But going down the wrong way or taking a wrong turn, we learned something there. We learned that, hey, that's not the way. Maybe I picked up something along the way that I can put in my tool bag or my arsenal, and it's going to help me make my next decision. It may not feel like that at the time, especially if we're going through it or we're recovering from it, we're rebuilding, but it all adds up because, sure, we could have got lucky and went the right way, but something was in the way, and it was probably emotion or a shadow aspect that held us back from going that way because we wanted to play it safe. We didn't want to make a mistake. We used logic over our emotion at times. uh, that's kind of like giving that idea of that person in the movies that runs after a girl at the airport, even though they said it wasn't going to work or they didn't share their emotions properly, but they felt it was true and then it was true. I'm not saying go do crazy things like that, but as an example, uh, what's true to us? What do we really feel in there following that? A Knight of Swords, swift action. This is, I often see the original card as making decisions or doing something, I should say, without thinking about the repercussions. Sometimes that burns us and sometimes we win. But regardless, we learn something from that. That could be like leading with that emotion, but hey, we got to be careful. What's that emotion attached to? Is it attached to our shadow or is it true? Maybe what was that? Compare, maybe, for. We can compare things. We can do that whole Venn diagram aspect in our head of, well, if I do this, I'll pros and cons on this, pros and cons on this, but what's in the middle? Like, what do we want? What do we really want? I don't know where I was going with that, but going back to the swift action. Oh, okay. Where we were at in our, how do we feel in here? Really doing that comparison of, is this, am I leading, is this emotion leading with a shadow aspect that I'm aware of? Or is it really true to my heart? Is it keeping me small? Is it holding me back from what's true to play it safe? Lovers reversed, conflict. That will always be a conflict inside of us. This this shadow, and then what's true to us. If we actually did what was really true to us, our world, our experience would be very different. We wouldn't be self-conscious. We wouldn't have, uh, what do I want to call it, insecurities. We wouldn't have fears. We would just be, and we would be free from all that. But they're always going to be there. It's best when we know them, so we can do that a fair comparison. Otherwise, we lead with them. They keep us safe. They keep us comfortable, and that's understandable. It makes us feel uncomfortable, but that's where that comparison really comes for. Is this for me? Is this not for me? Is this for my shadow, I should say, my fears or my insecurities? Or is this really what I want? Is this really for me, my true self in there? Four of Pentacles, materialist. Uh, Oftentimes when I see that original card, uh, that guy's clenching those pennies, and it's if we didn't have the money, we're clenching onto it just to survive, and if we had it, we're clenching onto it in fear of it going. Sure, that's attached to money, material matter, but uh, we need it to survive. I'm not taking that away at all. But how much does that direct us? A lot of things out there in society, our world, paint a picture and it looks nice. And maybe we want those things and there's nothing wrong with that. But maybe we're learning that a lot of those things that maybe we once wanted don't feel that true feeling inside. Sure, it's nice. It might make life easier to have X, Y, or Z, a kitchen gadget that saves me time, whatever it is. But does it make me feel that way inside? That true emotion that I'm going after. The opposite would be leading with that. I'm not saying, you know, be a hippie and don't take a bath unless that's what you want to do, but it doesn't have to be drastic like that. It's just, where am I going? What am I bringing into my life that supports this emotion that I really want to experience here? A Queen of Wands reversed, excessive control. This goes back to the shadow and how much we do things to keep it at bay, to keep it safe, to keep it comfortable, to keep it quiet. We limit ourselves a lot through that. And it's understandable. Those fears are real. Those insecurities are real. They do affect us. They do grab a hold of us. And they do hold us back. But who's living this life? Do we want it to live its life, or do we want our true self to get to that fulfillment? What is that going to look like? How are we going to get there? And it's knowing that aspect and doing that comparison is the best way or example I can give to navigate it easier, because that's an honest opinion. That's an honest comparison, I should say. If we know that and we know what triggers it or upsets it or what fears are around it, and then we know what we truly want, we can say, okay, well, this is why I'm afraid to do it, because of this. Is that worth triggering to get that outcome? Well, I think so. We're going to leave this here. If this resonated, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later.